story. I want everybody to pay attention for those that are on this call too as well, that are still developing for their one, which is make sure you put word pictures into people's mind. It's so key. If you ever notice me talking, I'm always making you visualize. It's just a natural.
where 12 years of coaching championships meets real-world leadership. Coach Clark broke through at the highest levels. Now he's bringing you the playbook. Every week, real leaders, real wins. Real strategies you can use Monday morning. If you're done with theory and ready for results, this is your show. You in? Let's go!
And welcome to the Clark Connection podcast, this version of Ask the Coach. I'm your host, Aaron Clark, aka The Coach. Then I want to apologize. I'm a little discombobulated with some stuff right now, going through editing, moving, changing how up. I got some of the film up and rolling, camera angles, readjusted some of the space today. So if y'all can hear me okay, man, just give me a quick thumbs up. Give me a one. Give me a like, whatever. I just got a lot of different stuff trying to happen. Funny stuff is, they got, for whatever reason, Microsoft made me update my account. So like changing all passwords and what have you. So it has been a weird, 5 minutes leading in. Like this happened, all couldn't have happened at a crazier time. Just found out I'm gonna be presenting for something, another event, was on a call, and none of my stuff worked right. So if you I'm serious, I don't know who can hear me, who can see me. Give me I need some thumbs up, because I can't see any of you. So that's why I need some comments. If you're on and you're paying attention, that if you can just give me a one or a thumbs up, or I honestly don't care what it is. Okay. So that's what I'm just trying to make sure. Thank you for your feedback. So I do apologize about taking so long to get into it. So just a new little setup, trying to make sure this is right as I get going. So I do appreciate your patience with me. And so what I wanted to talk with you guys about, is how some of you are winning on paper, but losing internally. That you're productive, you're respected, you're reliable, but deep down, you're exhausted. You show up, you hit deadlines, you lead meetings, you deliver results, and yet something inside is quietly draining you. It's called high functioning burnout. The kind not that nobody sees it, but nobody talks about it. Nobody recognizes it. Nobody understands, because it's silent. It's dangerous. And it's why leaders like you and me can feel like you're on autopilot, running a calendar with an empty heart. And so today we're going to break this down. We're going to talk about what it looks like, what it causes, and how to stop it. And so the kicker that kind of got me on this topic, I didn't know what I was going to talk about tonight. I was talking with my friend Zane Mackey. You saw him on the show. I don't remember which episode it was, but it was sometime last year. And he was talking about how I did the review on the energy bus. And that was the podcast that released today. You probably saw me and Caitlin about it. If you hadn't done it, you need to go watch it. After this, of course. But it's a great one. And so what that book really teaches about, though, isn't just positivity. It's how leaders manage their energy and burnout. And it's before the burnout manages them. And so if you're ready to take control with me, type me in the chat. If that's you, you're like, hey, I'm ready to take control. Type me in the chat. And that's your first step towards driving your bus instead of being driven by burnout. And so first thing that I want to talk about, and first thing that I want to, is what is high functioning burnout? And the definition is chronic mental and emotional depletion while maintaining outward performance. And so you may still see people, this could, and I may be talking about you because leading up until today, I didn't real until I was talking with Zane, I didn't realize that was me 2 weeks ago. That you're still delivering results, but you start becoming cynical, impatient, joyless internally. That you have a full calendar, but your heart is empty. And so if that's you, if you're like, he's talking to me, just know I'm talking to me too. That because that was me. And so what causes it? That and it's identity overload. It's trying to go and prove what your worth is. And so, and I forgot to mention that just because I saw her pop in, if she does kind of pop in and out, ask that it join live. I did tell Caitlin I was going to be referring and rolling back into the energy bus. So if y'all do have questions, hang on and ask those. That she may or may not. I don't know if she can jump in live with me as we're going about. So, and I do apologize. I'm trying to adjust some of these settings because I moved sides because somebody told me to switch sides so they could see the Coach Clark on my shirt. So new stuff all going around, guys. But some of the other root causes. So you're trying to worth your output, like absorbing stress, and you have no outlet to get rid of that stress. Lack of boundaries, saying yes to everyone and everything, negative energy, toxic environments or people leaking into your energy. And so think of that right now as we're going through and even talking about it. What are energy leaks that you have right now? Who are your energy vampires? What things are draining you that you feel like shouldn't be draining you? That those are the type of different things. So that, that's what causes that high functioning burnout. And you may see it in some of your top performers, and you might even be feeling it in yourself right now. So make sure that if you know somebody that this might be them, they share this live stream with them, get it to them now. They don't wait on this, okay? They don't wait to try to get all of this improved and worked upon. Share it with them now, because we're going to go through and talk about things that really help share some of this. So we talked about what is high function burnout. We talked about the causes. But what does it look like? What does high functioning burnout look like? Okay. And so you'll see it where people are that they're just numb. You'll see them more irritable. They might be productive, but they're unfulfilled. So you see these people, they're still producing results. It's not your typical what you would see as burnout, but it's one that a lot of us as business owners and leaders in organizations may go through and feel. It's somebody you may know that they're just on all day and night. That they can't turn it off. They don't know how to turn it off. They even when they escape, they can't get away with it. And so if you answered yes to even any of these, they write it down. Later, I'll show you exactly how to turn that around. So don't scroll away. If this is you or somebody you know or you care about that's in high functioning burnout, then make sure. And again, and you can ease because I'm not going to go and they go through all of it again, like the different steps to go and talk to somebody about this, but having a difficult conversation. We talked about that 2 or 3 lives ago. So make sure that's something that as you're looking through, what does it look like? And so this was me not that long ago, and I didn't realize it. Like I said, I was talking to Zane at my BNI group today. He said, "Hey, that was a good one. You should talk about the high functioning burnout." I said, "Well, what is that?" Just burnout. And that was when he told me. And he was like, "Man, it happens to so many of us." Zane's very successful. He's got two very successful businesses, that Wise Coatings, as well as a pressure washing business. So he does flooring and outdoor flooring or garages, but then also does pressure washing. So it's a great combination, because if you book him for the flooring service to get the Wise coatings done, he's going to have to pressure wash, make sure that he gets the ground clean, scrapes it up. They're real good. I mean, he did a great presentation today. Great presentation today at BNI. But while we were talking about it, he was like, oftentimes that's us. And how do we protect ourselves if this starts going on, if this starts to happen? What are some things that we as leaders can do to prevent that? And so I really, really, really loved all that he was saying. And so it got me thinking, because I was like, oh, that was me not that long ago. That was me that was the one that was high functioning burnout, still producing, still hitting goals, still hitting targets, but unfulfilled, just not really feeling it. And so a lot of times, like I said, the things that happens with that emotional suppression, that you don't have an outlet. And so when we're going to tie all this into the energy bus today. Or so again, if you hadn't watched that one, it's going to be a good one to go check out in just a minute. So, and then if you're watching this like if it's already recorded instead of live, press pause now and go back and watch the book review on the energy bus. I'll make sure to, or if somebody else, if you're watching, I might can even drop that in the chat. I don't know. But go watch that real good episode from earlier today. Let me see. I know I can get it up here. There it is. And shareable link. So those of you that are on YouTube, it has been pasted into the chat. I don't know how to get it on. I would have to fool with much harder on TikTok. So tough cookie. Let's see. And so yeah, with again, kind of back to what it looks like. So you're irritable. So what does it look like? You're irritable. Small things are triggering you that you would be like, man, that usually doesn't get me. Another thing that I saw that as through looking it up and researching it, that I was trying to, because I was like, ooh, I don't have it on these notes, so I may not have done it, but I did. It was in my other stuff that I was looking at. So you might see yourself fantasizing about quitting. You might see yourself fantasizing about quitting. Now, you don't ever do it, but you fantasize about it. You're like, I got to figure out how to get out of this. And you start seeing yourself dream instead of dreaming anymore. You start to just survive. It's really, really, really not a good way to get in. And so I really want to tie in, because I felt like it was a good one from earlier today, that and it just kind of cool how God works and how God brings things about. And that today's podcast episode that I released was about the energy bus. And so if you didn't watch it, it's really talking about the power of positive energy and how you can control your attitude and your actions. And so if you're feeling that high performance burnout, the one that I would tell anybody that to do is first realize that you are the driver of your bus. Okay. You have to take intentional control of your mindset. So that's very important. That's a very, very important first step into this. Burnout happens when you feel like you're the passenger, when you feel like you're letting everybody else control you, when you feel like you've got nothing else to give, then that's when that starts to happen, okay? It's important to remember when you're feeling these things that you, as the leader, you get to choose your response. Um, and then set your direction intentionally. So, like one where I was talking about where it was just so exhausted and tired as you're trying, as for me personally, trying to make sure that Coach Clark Leadership and Development gets off the ground, trying to start a new school community, which is really, if you hadn't looked into that or looked at in joining that, if you're a leader wanting to surround yourself with more leaders that and then get connected and looking for somebody, maybe a mentor or somebody to mentor, somebody that's a mentee to you, that leadership multipliers, school.com, sign up, free account, that and join. That we're looking to start that building this community to be able to help other leaders. And so remember that rule number 1, you're the driver of your bus. And so if you're going to be that person that says, I'm taking control of myself today, put in the chat right now, put a 2, just put the number 2. Say, I'm going to take control. Yeah, I see you guys in there. Yep, I see y'all. The second rule that I want to talk about that comes from the energy bus is that energy is contagious. And so, as the leader of the organization, wherever you are, your team is going to feel your energy. Whether your energy is positive or whether your energy is negative, they are going to feel that. It's up to you to determine, am I going to give positive energy or negative energy? And so things that you may have to do, you may have to get rid of hanging around with those toxic people. Some of them, guys, they're real life people. They're people that are in your personal life that you just can't, like, hey, I can't avoid them. Well, Aaron, what if my negative person is my wife or my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend? Or what if it's my boss? I'm going to go back to that rule number 1. First off, you're the driver of your bus. Second, always remember that you're a human being before you are an employee somewhere. So always keep that in mind. That's one that I like to tell people. So if it is your boss, they just talk to them. Go have that difficult conversation. But if it's your spouse, if it's your mom, if it's your dad, if it could be a grandparent, aunt, uncle, whatever, go have that conversation. Because energy is contagious. So it's very important that you protect that energy. Don't let somebody do that. So the less amount of time that you can spend with a negative person, the better. And I love how I said it there. Curate your emotional bandwidth. Again, determine who gets access to your best self. And so in a lot of my, you probably, if you've heard of the 80-20 rule, what the 80-20 rules or the Pareto principle says is that 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions or your people. And a lot of times what we do as leaders is we spend 80% of our time, or sorry, the huge majority of our time on the 80% that doesn't produce the results. That we don't do a really good job of prioritizing the things that matter. I was like, come on, think, Aaron. But it's priority management. We don't take into consideration, I want to spend time with the 20% that's producing 80% of the results. And if you're in that leadership role, you got to make sure that you protect that and then make people earn your time. And I know it seems like the dumbest thing that you've ever heard, but it really works. Like, because if you make, because a lot of that's going to happen, and it was one that me and Caitlin talked about on there, is a lot of times you'll run off your top performers. So you don't want to run off your top performers. Um, if you're spending too much time with those that are not producing, spend your time with the people that are going to actually produce those results. And so as you do that, it picks up the other team. Our third point from here, that from the energy bus, is make sure that that I don't remember which rule it is, but fuel your ride with not fuel your I just talked about fueling your ride with positive energy. Um, invite the right passengers on your bus. Okay. If you don't protect your bus, you will start to resent your ride. And so if you start to allow other people to control and get on your bus that are not good for you, that are around you, it's going to bring you down. And so to prevent some of that high productivity burnout, you've got to start looking how to fuel and add in positive energy. Okay. That you can't allow those energy vampires to get on your bus. If they do get on your bus, you got to get them off quickly. And again, it's not being mean, it's protecting you. If you won't protect you, who's going to look out for you? Because I promise you that energy vampire is not looking out for you. It's up to you to protect you. You have to do that. If it's somebody else, if you don't let, sorry. So if you allow them to stay on, all they're going to do is hurt you. And I promise they don't care about you. So it's very important that you protect you in your energy. And so you may be thinking, Aaron, what do I do from here? How do I go about now? I think I'm there. I might be one of those people that you were talking about with high productivity or high functional burnout. And so the first thing to do is go edit your energy leaks. Go edit your go audit your energy leaks. Like, go look and see who's draining you. So check and see who is an energy vampire. Okay. Look and see what drains you. What are those activities that are draining you? And look to see where you overcommitted. What are things that you've said yes to that you probably should have said no to that are draining you? Because you're going to have to start going into priority management and start figuring out what that gives me the greatest reward, what's required of me. You may have to look in and start cutting things out. And again, it's not wrong. It's about protecting you. Yeah, the wooden stakes for the energy vampires, the silver bullets, whatever it is. You got to take care of yourself. And it goes back to when you get on an airplane and they're giving the pre-flight speeches, that in case of emergency, if the oxygen mask drops, they put yours on first and then help others. You got to put yours on first. And so this goes into the next step. If that is you need to schedule recovery like you schedule results. And this is a hard one for me. One of the things I tell everybody, college, I didn't learn a whole lot other than I can function on about 2 to 4 hours of sleep for 2 to 3 months at a time. Then I just need a crash weekend. I also learned during this time, you can be awake for 72 hours without having to go to sleep. That's the biggest things I took away from college, that I can push the human body a lot further than what I thought was capable. Biggest and best thing I learned in college. But that's not realistic. We can't do that. It's not good for us to do that. And so schedule these times, schedule a recovery time, schedule it like you would your results, and then track it. So pick one recovery activity for today. It could be walking. It could be meditating. It could be journal writing. It could be going hit golf balls in your backyard or to the driving range. It could be playing video games. There's so many things that you can do to take time to recover yourself. Choose that right now. And then the last thing on this is reconnect to your purpose. Why did you get started? What got you going in the first place? Who are you called to impact? What actually matters? Remember why you got started. What is your purpose? What is your vision? And a lot of times, those of us that are experiencing the high performance burnout or high functioning burnout, it's because we're not resting. In Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that was number 7, sharpen the saw. And with that, where it comes, or one of the stories that he tells in there, if you hadn't read the book, A, go buy it. It's not that expensive. But B, when he goes through and talks about sharpening the saw, he talks about that 2 rival tree cutters. I'm sure I can't think of the technical name for it right now, but they go off into the forest. And they're going to have a competition. They give them some big trees and they see, hey, who's going to cut it down the fastest? And so they got this one young, strong, strapping guy. So yeah, lumberjacks. Thank you. Lumberjacks. See, I knew I could count on you guys to help me out. But they go into the woods and they find 2 big old trees. One of them's yoked up, strapping. They got some muscles. Kind of like Levi was on here that last week on the live, flexing. I mean, looks like that. And then there's an old guy. And they go off into the woods. And so everybody is sure that the young, strong, that good-looking guy is going to win, because when you hear it, you hear whack, 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 whack. But on the other side, you hear whack and some pause. And then you'll hear another whack. And you might hear whack, whack. As the time goes on, next thing you know, you hear the old lumberjack yell out, timber, boom, it crashes. And so they run into the woods and they're like, there's no way. They go and check on the young strapping guy who's still just swinging away. And you hear whack. They're like, well, man. So they run over to the other guy and he's just kind of sitting there. He's sharpening his saw. And they're like, well, how did you beat him? Hey, you weren't hitting near as much. And he said, yeah, I realized that time was better spent sharpening my saw to make sure that I'm making the best cuts possible. And the same thing is for us as leaders. It's important that we take that time to rest and recover. And so as we go from here, guys, like we were talking about, high functioning burnout can look like success on the outside. But leadership's not all about surviving your calendar. It's about sustaining your calling. And so here's what to do next. Audit your energy leaks. Know who's the energy vampires around you. Know who's draining you and what it is that's draining you. Schedule recovery like you schedule results. Pick one activity a day. And then remember your purpose, Like, why did you start? Why are you here? What is your impact? And remember that burnout thrives in meaningless and drains the energy of even the highest performing leaders. Positive energy is intentional, protected, and cultivated. It's how you fight back. And then go listen to today's episode that we had on the Clark Connection podcast of the Energy Bus. If you're on YouTube, I put it in the link or in the chat. If you're on TikTok, just go to YouTube and type in coach_A_Clark or Clark Connection podcast, and you can find it there. And it says leadership has an energy problem. That's the name of it. You'll see my wonderful smiling face on there, along with co-host Caitlin, holding up my copy of the Energy Bus. And then go join Leadership Multipliers on School. It's SKOOL. This helps to protect your energy, to sharpen your leadership, and prevent burnout before it strikes. Your bus is yours to drive. Don't let it drive you. Before I close out, do we got any questions, comments? I'm only going to leave it open very shortly. I've been seeing stuff, so I'm scroll back through the chat on here. And feel free if I didn't answer your question, because I may miss some of this. Since some were filtered. All right, so it doesn't look like I missed any on that one. Cool. All right, well, if you guys don't have anything else, guys, remember, you don't need to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So keep leading, keep learning, keep connecting. I'll see you next week on Ask the Coach. Bye, guys.